Welcome back to another episode of Love Living Local 315. We are your hosts, Scott and Kelly Greats, and today we are excited to welcome Ian McQueeney. He's a content creator, an entrepreneur, a digital storyteller, pretty amazing human, and only 21 years old. He's helping brands amplify their message through user-generated content. He's already built a career in content creation, traveling, networking, and pushing the boundaries of self-improvement. And now he's gearing up for his next big move, which you'll find out about soon. And we're going to dive into his journey, his mindset, and what fuels his creativity. I love that content creator is a thing on a resume now.
Huge.
We're old. What do we call this? It was just like author, speaker. Right now we've got influencers and thought leaders and content creators. So what does that mean to you, Ian? What is a content creator?
Yeah. So as a content creator, so like a lot of people are like influencers nowadays. Like everyone says like, oh, I'm an influencer, but like not a lot of people really claim themselves as like a content creator unless like they're seen as like a content creator, in my opinion. So like for the whole influencer side of things, like I don't like claim myself as an influencer because I don't want to be an influencer. It's more of like I'm trying to create content that I would speak to myself, like my younger self, in a way that can inspire and help others in the same, process, right? So with content, I think there's so many ways you can use it nowadays. It's like virtual real estate in a way for like your personal brand and like kind of not only for yourself, but to, like I said, help others in, that way, but also just in multiple different ways, like virality, and just scaling it in like ways you couldn't think possible, like monetization, make it your full-time career. So there's so many ways you can go about it, but you first got to take that leap of just like posting first and seeing where it takes you. Because a lot of people struggle with that, obviously. It's just like...
Do they?
Yeah,
I feel like people post too much.
Well, it's either... I post too much, I think. But I feel like you need to post too much because if you're annoying, people always see you. As compared to like if you're scared to post all the time, like people are going to be like, oh, like he's not really about it or she's not really about it, So I feel like when you just like apply yourself and just kind of break through that barrier. Because me at first, I could not talk on camera at all. Like I couldn't even look at myself on the phone.
When we first started this, it's awkward.
Yeah, it's very weird because I was super shaky. I was like looking at myself and I was like, I don't know what to say next. What am I going to say next? I was just super nervous. And then, overall, like you just start to get more in the flow of things, get more comfortable. And then it just becomes like a habit at that point.
Practice, repetition, and it's just what you do.
Well, with a content creator, too, is that you have people that follow you and they get to know you. And if you don't post often, that's when your followers, honestly, they get upset. Like, where are you? What have you been doing? We've been looking for, you know what I mean? Your updated stuff. So I do like the influencers, from what I think, are always trying to get you to buy something.
Yeah.
I love TikTok. I will allow myself like an hour at a time, and then I have to shut myself down.
That's a lie, but go ahead.
And it's not a lie, whatever. But the influencers, you wonder how authentic they are. And with content creators, like you said, it's authenticity. It's just you being you and trying to help others. So I definitely like the creator instead of the influencer. So what exactly is user-generated content? Give us an example of what.
Sure. I feel like a lot of people don't know what I do.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of people don't know.
We're going to start the first 10 minutes trying to figure out what the hell you do.
Okay, cool. Okay. So I'm breaking it down. So UGC, it's user-generated content, as you said. So it's pretty much just creating content for brands in a way to help them drive more sales and traffic to their website. So it's basically just helping them get more exposure and just overall more sales, like I said. So basically, as a UGC creator, what you're doing is like they will send you free product, and you just have to create content around it, whether it's POV style. I integrate it into my lifestyle a lot of the times to show like myself using it before and after, like effects of using the product. Just kind of like integrating it in a way where it's like people can see someone else using it, and then they're like, oh, like if they're using it, like it's a face I've never seen before. Like usually influencers aren't used for UGC unless it's like for like a sponsorship. So like with this, it's like you have a brand new face that no one's really seen before, but it's like it looks like a customer review. So it comes off as more authentic, like, oh, like this random person's using it. They're talking about it. I want to buy it now too. So it's just a deeper form of marketing, in my opinion. Like it's more
new age marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to meet people where they are.
Yeah,
and you're going to the places they are. So I need to back up because I'm a little slow.
You're good.
All right. First of all, POV. I see this all over the place. What is POV?
So it's point of view.
Point of view.
Yeah.
All right. Wait, don't shake your head.
It's a good question. I mean, a lot of people don't know that.
I mean, I knew, but I played dumb for the audience because they're
You
home
did not
thinking the
know.
same thing, right? I'm a professional.
Sorry, go
All
ahead
right.
with your train of thought.
All right, so I lost my train of thought.
I know you did.
No, so can you talk about specific products you do, or does that?
Yeah,
you
no.
can. Okay,
I'll
so give
break
me
it
an
down.
example of like the most recent product.
Yeah. So most recent, I work with so many products right now. Like
Or
I
just
work
give
with
me
a lot of apps. I'm working with like a gym app right now called Gym Streak.
Okay, so I want to stop you there. So I'm with Gym Streak.
Yep.
I've got this app. How do I find Ian McQueeney?
That's the biggest thing everyone struggles with. Honestly, it's like it's either they're not putting themselves out there enough, or they're not allowing themselves to be in a position where brands can find them. So there's that push and pull between, are you reaching out enough, doing enough outreach to put yourself out there, like being annoying, like I said, for your name or your face to get noticed so that they can like actually respond to you, or you're not like posting enough like on the personal brand side of things where your face isn't out there enough. They can't see your content. They don't know what you do. So like when you have both of those, you're doing the outreach and you're posting on the personal brand side of things, then you can kind of see like, all right, this is Ian McQueeney. He reached out to me. He's got a page that I can look at, and he's also got a portfolio of like a bunch of brands.
So you reached out to them.
Yeah. So there's with this one specifically. So I have like connections as well.
Which
so,
happens through time.
Yeah. So it's all networking. Honestly,
Sure,
networking
sure.
is honestly the biggest part in this. If you know people or like you're in a community where they're giving out opportunities a lot of the time, you're gonna land deals a lot more frequently.
Okay. So let's talk about the deal. So I get a hold of you. I'm with Gym Streak. I want Ian to make some UGC. So what does that look like? So am I paying you, or are you working for free and then how do you get paid?
Yeah, that's a good question. So there's two different styles of UGC that I do. I believe you had Trey on here before, and he talked about it, content amplification.
Yeah.
The UGC side of things, that's more professional. Like that's more for like paid ads and, just actually using it for like a professional paid advertising like style. The content amplification is more organic. So like they'll pay you upfront a retainer to post a certain amount of videos every month. So in that case, it's like 30 videos on like a brand new TikTok account. And that way they're not paying for paid ads. Like they're not like, just putting money into one video over and over and over again to get like more views on it that might not even perform well as compared to 30 different videos that you can post across one page that, one could go viral and then you're set and then you start getting like a bunch of sales that way. So that's the content amplification side of
So
things.
through your page, they then click your LinkedIn tree or your link that you have, and the company knows whether or not you're getting sales through your page, correct?
Exactly. So instead of like the link tree, so usually for these brands, when you start making a new page for them, because typically they want it to be like a subsidiary cousin account of like their main brand. So it's not like the actual account, but it's like, it looks like the account. So once you reach 1,000 followers, you can actually get a link in bio on TikTok. And once you do that, people can buy through that link and then they can track commissions that way. And then it just doubles your income as well. So you get the retainer up front, you perform well for them, you get commissions, and then they can re-sign you based on your performance. So that's the TikTok side of things.
Okay.
Yep.
All big stuff, right? Like this wouldn't be applicable to a small local business. Like you're trying to go viral coast to coast.
Yep.
Is there anything local or anyone local who could benefit from what you do?
Anyone could benefit from this, honestly. Like
So give me a small example.
A small example would be if you look at who was that pizza review guy? He came in town that one
There's
time.
a couple of them. Barstool Sports.
Dave
Yeah,
Portnoy,
yeah.
So he did that for like it's kind of like that where it's like he came into like this one pizza place that was like about to go bankrupt or something, or like during COVID, like the whole situation was going on. It's kind of like that where it's like if you can put like this place on a pedestal and like kind of like show like what it does. Like it's not performing as well as they want it to, but like it has great food. Like it's actually a good place to be at. Everyone's like super nice there. If you have like those pain points, like those selling points that people see and they're in the area already, so you can like target people based off of location on the video. If they see that, be like, oh, this is, something, that I would want to work with or want to go check out. So it's definitely a possibility, but it's on like the lower end, I'll say, because it's like, it's local,
Yeah.
So, but it's still possible for
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about you personally a little bit for a minute.
Yeah.
You're passionate about self-improvement.
Yeah.
You said that. What are some daily habits or practices or routines that you do to keep you physically and mentally like creative?
Before you answer, for the audience, you're 21.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier my younger self, and my inner monologue chuckled because I'm like, you are your younger self, right?
Yeah, that was true.
But you know, as Kelly asked the question about self-improvement, I first of all, before you even answer, want to applaud you for at your age thinking this way. So go ahead.
Thank you. Awesome. It all started, I'll just go back to like why I got into this. So back in like high school, I was like this shy, scrawny, not so confident kid. You know, I would like just kind of show up. I was always in a shell, just kind of like looking down. Like
Body language.
Yeah,
like,
body language.
Yep.
I was like curled up in a ball all the time. Didn't like talking in class. Like I was just a very awkward kid.
Introvert.
And so, yeah, very introverted. Yeah. So the extroverted part, like that took a lot of work to come out of me because like I'm working on it to this day, obviously. But it's way more than like what it used to be at that point. But that all started with like COVID specifically because when you get locked in your room for 2 weeks and you realize a lot about yourself, you're like, I need to make a change because like if I don't, then this is just going to spiral, snowball, get even worse. So I have to change something about this. So I realized that, and as soon as, you know, I was locked in my room, I was like, all right, I got to make a list of these different things that I could, you know, maybe try doing to get better and improve as an individual and, you know, become more mentally tough, physically stronger, whatever it may be. And so, like, I started listening to a lot of, like, motivational videos on YouTube. Kobe was, like, one of, like, my biggest, like, inspirational figures, like, idols, because he was just, like, that Mamba mentality just kind of, like, sparked something to me. Like, oh, if you're not doing enough, then, you know, you're limiting your potential pretty much. So
That's super. How old were you when you did this?
I think it was 18.
5 years ago.
18, yeah. That was senior year, 11th grade, senior year.
Good
So,
for you.
yeah, so it was like a wake-up call because, like, everyone's time is different, obviously. So it's like you can be 30 and have a wake-up call. You can be, you know, 18 like I was and have a wake-up call. You can be 50, you know? So it's like there's different times when you can, like, have that moment of realization, like, oh, I got to change things. So I'm blessed to have that at an early age. So I like to, you know, try and share it with other people as much as possible. But, yeah, that period mostly started meditating a lot, a form of, like, prayer in a way, because I wasn't really close with God at the time, but I was like religious, in a religious family. So I was like, I kind of have to come back to something that like I'm rooted in a little bit. So meditation was a big one. I started journaling pretty much daily.
Scott's loving every second of this.
Yeah, I'm just breaking it down. Yeah,
Let the man speak.
but yeah, I was just journaling every day, probably for like 10 minutes, just brain dumping, saying what I was grateful for, because I was a very pessimistic person. I was very negative. So I had to like flip the switch, try and force myself to be positive. Affirmations, just more positive stuff. I am this, I am that. I did a lot of reading, self-improvement books. I've probably read over like 40 at this point now, since that point. And then just working out at the gym pretty much. Those are like the big things that I've done over the years, and try to stay consistent with them to this day. So it's changed me as a person for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you can poke fun at me all you want.
I am not poking funny. Why are you attacking me? Holy moly.
I talk a lot about the 6 daily disciplines, and I'm certainly not good at all of them, but I'm aware of all of them, right?
Yeah.
And we talk about proper nutrition, we talk about exercise or even just movement.
Yeah.
You hit on positive journaling. What's amazing is when you consistently brain dump as many good things as you can think about each morning from the day before, your mind realizes throughout the day that you need to be looking for good things. It starts looking subconsciously for the positive.
Yep.
You talk about personal affirmation. The thoughts in your head will become the things in your life over and over again. You're creating that pattern. Meditation is huge. It's the one that scares people the most. I like to use a self-guided app.
I do the same thing.
Keep me paced. And then the only other one you didn't mention are acts of kindness. And I hate that people put random in front of it. It's not a random act of kindness. It's an intentional act of kindness. And so each day, if you can think about one kind thing, and it doesn't need to be anything wild. Like if you're at a grocery store and, you know, offer to bring someone's shopping cart back. You see they're done loading the groceries. I mean, it doesn't work at Aldi's because everyone wants their quarter. but you know, at a normal
Aldi's is crazy.
Just give them the cart and not take the cart. Not take the quarter.
Don't take my quarter. Don't take my quarter.
People will fight you for that quarter. It's a brilliant.
When I was in Florida, like some woman just gave me a really nasty look. I was like, "Do you have a quarter?" She's like, "Yeah." And she just gave it to me. I was like, "Okay."
But the acts of kindness, you actually receive more pleasure than the person that you are helping by carrying that out. So kudos to you for thinking that way when it comes to self-improvement. Let's just keep talking about everything I love. Networking. Right? It's who, not how. Everybody we talk to that's successful in business, no matter what the business is, even ones that people don't understand. I'm guessing you tell your parents what you do, and they're like, "You do what? Like, you should get a real job. Like, how do you make it?"
Exactly.
Meanwhile, your potential is 100x higher than someone who's got a $17 an hour job at Aldi's. So networking. You talked about being an introvert. You talked about the importance of being connected. How did you start that? How did you, not knowing anyone, being that shy kid, how did you start networking?
Yeah. So I'd have to say it was probably around that same time of COVID where it's like who you surround yourself, like the 5 people you surround yourself with are like the sum of like who you become, like it's the average of the people you hang out with. So when I realized like, the people I was hanging out with, like they're like my close friends, but they probably weren't the best for like my future. Like they weren't like the best influence. I decided like I need to like kind of branch out and just like meet people that I haven't really typically, thought I would hang out with, but like would benefit me in the future. So whether they were my age, weren't my age, they were on social media in a different state, I would just like do my best to just try and meet as many people as possible and just break out of that comfort zone, because there's a lot of points where I just couldn't even like talk to people. Like I'd try and go up to them and like I would start choking up. I would start getting like all nervous. Didn't really even know like what to say or like how to, come to them with something. But it started as simple as just like local people in the area. I was big into videography at the time. So Josh Graz, Rich Vocals, all those guys in the area, the Loft, that was like my big start, just meeting all those guys and like actually having a community of people that are like creatives in the area that like made me feel more like a family, like there was more people like me. So getting with them made me more confident as a person. There's one of my other buddies that I was close with growing up. He's pretty big on TikTok now, Logan Copperwheat. He's huge. He was one of the only other guys that I knew that did content in the area. So I was like, might as well reach out to him. We got close. And then, from that point on, it just kind of kept like stacking every other month, every other year. And then I met one guy on the internet. I had a podcast at the time as well, Visionary Talks. His name's Mason Core. And he's like got one of the biggest holistic brands on like TikTok right now, or just in general on the market, called the Stampede Network. And he was like one of my first like actual like big figures that I had on the podcast. After that, it was kind of like a door opened. He was like, "Yeah, if you want to come down and meet me in Tampa, come down. You're welcome." So I came down, met him in person when I went to Tampa. That was my first ever trip like on a flight. So, like, it's like everything's just a domino effect. You meet one person, opens up more doors, meet another person, more opportunities, like, just are created. So it's just, like, I feel like it's God at the end of the day. Like, if you put yourself in a position where you want to grow and you keep doing the things that you have to do every day to get to that point, he's going to, like, put you in positions or give you opportunities to go there, but you have to choose to go there pretty much. You have to make the decision, so...
Just the willingness to help each other too, from this whole generation, and wanting to create content and helping each other out. It's not like cutthroat. Like it used to be, you were somebody else's competition. In other words, and what we continually see is the networking and the marketing and everything that you are all doing to help each other is just awesome. So
the word wasn't said, but what it is abundance. And we talk a lot about an abundance mindset is opposite of scarcity, where scarcity says if you have this, I can't have that. If you reach this level, I can't get there. Where your generation and this, I shouldn't say your generation, that's a wide brush, but your community that you're referring to, of like-minded individuals all understand. And I've had the great opportunity to work with some true titans in different industries, and one thing that is a common denominator is what you just said. They're all willing to help. They're all willing to share. There are no secrets. They're rooting for you. There is no competition. It's collaboration, and it's an abundance mindset, because when the leader grows, everyone improves. And so you're living it at a super young age, and there is a tipping point to success, and just once you see something, you can't unsee it. Once you know something, you can't unknow it. And once you realize what works, these dominoes start to fall, and that is your knowledge plus your network equaling these opportunities. So
absolutely.
Let's talk about something you've got going on. You've got a product launch coming up, development of an app. Take us through that.
Yeah, for sure. So I can't say too much about it right now, just because, we signed some papers and whatnot.
Sure.
But basically, it's just to allow creators to find an easier way to connect with brands on the outreach end of things, because there's a lot of, communities or opportunities where brands are looking for creators and they're asking like, oh, we need creators, but a lot of people don't know how to do the outreach side of things, like how to actually go out.
To be that middleman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the app is. So it's just allowing you an easier, smoother transition and process of like going from, a beginner creator, someone that wants to start working with brands, to basically getting connected with brands, straight up, and then, helping you with like the outreach side of things as well. So it's pretty much, like you said, the middleman. So we're launching probably around like end of February, early March. So I have a wait list in my link in bio if you want to check it out. So
you'll be leaving the area for a little while.
Yep.
What will you miss most?
The food.
Yeah, for sure.
It's always the food.
Yeah, whether it's the pizza.
It's not the weather. It's
Riggy's,
never the weather.
No, I'm not going to miss the weather. Ohio's
right
not
now.
much better, but it's just too cold here. It's freezing.
I always say that.
cruel.
Why do we live in a place where it hurts to go outside?
We don't even go
just-
outside.
Well,
Yeah,
we're
it stinks.
forced to go outside at times,
brutal.
but yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned your bio. So how do people connect with you? Let's we're not wrapping up, but I do want to get that in earlier than normal. So
Yeah,
where do
how to
they
connect
find
with
you?
me?
How do they see your content?
Yeah.
How do they
For sure. So you can connect with me on Instagram at Ian McQueeney. That's like my main form of, social media. It's like where I'm always active. So it's pretty much it. Just Ian McQueeney.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So, what advice would you give an aspiring content creator
Yeah.
who wants to break through? And they were like you were. They're kind of introverted, but they want to get into this field.
Yep.
What would you tell them?
Just start creating, dude. Like
Put it out there, right?
Like just put it out there. Like it's all volume at the end of the day. Like it's about how much you put out. And if you're limiting yourself, like if you have an idea and you wait too much to act on it, you're scared of what people might think, you're doing yourself a huge disservice at the end of the day. Because what if, you did make that video and it pops off, or like, you actually help people in the process.
So give me a real life example though. Like what is that video? So we've got a 17-year-old who's kind of flirting with this right now. If we went to him this weekend and said, Connor, hey, make a video, put yourself out there. Like a video of what?
Anything.
Whatever
So,
he's interested in.
anything. So like any personal interest, like for me, obviously, it's like self-improvement or like, content creation, things of those sorts. Even if it's just something as simple as like text on screen, like just something like a thought you had, like POV, like POV, you did this and this and now you're doing this, or like POV, day in the life of, a 17-year-old high school student, just something like basic that kind of like gets you started, get your foot in the door.
And
Yeah.
you're sharing
Just
that
to practice. Anywhere.
TikTok, Instagram.
Are you
Yeah.
suggesting all over, or
Yeah.
do you pick one, or you're
No,
all over?
You gotta
Link 'em.
do everything, because like the biggest thing I've learned, especially over these years, is if you can repurpose the same video on every single social media platform, your chances of getting noticed and getting more like views and exposure are like times, I'd say 10.
Exponential.
Yeah. So it's a lot more.
And especially when you bring your friends in too. That's another
Yeah.
thing that like the kids are realizing. Like Connor's passion is like, sports.
Yep.
And and he did a video with his best friend like signing the camera after, they won a
Football
game.
game,
And then
yeah.
the
Yep.
parents share it and then
Yeah.
he shares it. So it's really
Yeah.
collaboration.
Locally
is
too,
huge.
like locally for sports, I did a lot of like the videography stuff. All the athletes, every kid in the area, just they eat that stuff up.
Oh,
like
yeah.
they love it because
Sure.
it's like they're finally getting a chance to see themselves on social media in
Yeah.
a way where they can kind of promote like their craft. Like you're a basketball player, no one can really see you unless they go to the game or you post a video about it. So it's like, oh, they didn't go to the game. Let me show you a little video of like what I actually do in game. So it's just
This is becoming naturally a very crowded space. So I talked about the career day I did yesterday. Graz was with me.
oh yeah.
And,
Yeah.
so the 50-year-old insurance agent talks, and then here comes Graz with pictures.
I can only imagine.
Courtside with the Spurs, and behind, backstage and Travis Scott
He's everywhere.
pictures. And yeah,
Shout out Josh.
He doesn't need to be shouted at. So, so I wanted to go first so that I didn't have
You
to
didn't have to
follow
follow
him.
him?
Yeah. and he started, he tried, and I'm sure he's listening, and I'm glad. He tried to do the whole backstory and yada yada, but then he started showing the pictures, and the kids were all like, "Whoa!" Yeah. I'm like, just lead with that, man. Just dive into what they want.
Let it speak for itself at that point.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is, this is becoming a very crowded space. That group of kids they were enamored, and the access to entry is very limited, right? If you have a cell phone, if you have a TikTok account, you can do this, and so a lot of people are moving to the space. So that's a big lead up to the question, how do you differentiate yourself? What makes you unique? Like if you're starting out, or even you, like in this crowded red ocean of everyone trying to do the same thing the same way, why Ian McQueeney?
You just got to figure it out for yourself. A lot of the times it just comes to you, in my opinion. Like you'll be just making videos and then you realize like, oh, I like this style a little bit more. I don't see someone else doing this. Or like even if it's something as simple as like an audio or like how you like do transitions or just like small little things, it really stands out a lot more than like the big things, in my opinion, because less is more, So if you can have something that's really small that makes a big impact, whether, like I said, it's audio, music, the visuals, how you record things, the structuring of it.
And
it's
I
very,
think you need
very
to keep
different.
going with your personal brand, because the way you talk about your spirituality and mindset and just self-improvement, I think is huge.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
And once people know that definitely separates you from other creators.
I feel like a lot of creators, I've been in calls with a bunch of like big people in the space, and a lot of them, like, you have to be very spiritually inclined and like actually like have a good relationship with yourself, or else you're not going to create good content, or like you're just not you're not going to know where to start, because at the end of the day, so I just read the book Green Lights by
you gotta listen to it on audio.
It's
you don't read that one, you listen to it.
Is it his voice?
Yeah, he reads it.
Really?
That's great.
He reads the whole book.
It's the best audio book ever.
There's a Bible verse, I think it's Matthew 6:22 he talks about. He named his first son after that. Basically it goes, the eye is the lamp of the body, so if the eye is healthy, the body is full of light. So how I like to see that is like, it's your inner child. It's like, it's your third eye pretty much. And if you're not tapped into that as you get older and like in the creative space, then it's like, you're not really putting your full self out there for people to see. You're not allowing yourself to fully embody the person you truly are at the end of the day. And you need to allow yourself to like just break out of that shell and like show self-expression, because that's been one of the things I still struggle to this day, is like actually expressing myself in a way that comes off as authentic and like, oh, I really want to get to know this guy. Like I feel like I know him through, the camera or social media. So it's like you want to come off as like someone that is like welcoming, that knows themselves, that actually understands who they are as a person.
Authentic,
yeah. And overall, it honestly trickles down to every area of your life.
Yeah, it's art.
Yeah, it is.
It really. And so what's your biggest success story at this moment in time? Like, what's the one thing that you look at and be like, that was awesome? I'd
say probably so far hitting 10K in a month. That was pretty cool. But it was also very eye-opening, I'll say that. So, like, it was cool. That was like my big goal for all these years. Once I started everything, I was like, I want to make 10K in a month. And so I did that, and then I hit it, and it's like, oh, well, what's next? Exactly. So it's like
you learned a powerful lesson about goals right there.
I like that. No, because it's
like a whole nother.
A lot of people, it's like it's like the whole mountain analogy. Like you can climb the mountain, but when you get to the top, it's like, all right, now what's next? Then you see another mountain in the distance, and you have to like climb an even bigger mountain. So it's like there's different levels to these goals that you have. So like if you set high goals for yourself, you got to keep exceeding those goals to kind of stay satisfied and fulfilled, later in your life. So it's like when you're a young kid and like you're hitting like these goals at a young age, it can be mentally tolling on you, because like there's a lot of pressure to keep getting better, because especially if you're posting on social media, everyone can see it. So it's like you're holding yourself accountable, but it's like, all right, I have to keep doing something every single day, whether it's 1%, just to get better and better. And then even create new goals, whether it's, starting a family, getting another income goal, or even just like getting closer with God, something like that, just more on a spiritual realm side of things. So
the funny thing about business, about goals, about money is that, and it's funny to it's cool, not funny, it's cool to see you talk about this, because we chased money out of college and we were money driven, and the wild thing about goals is once you get close to it, you move the goalpost.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want it. We never, as type A driven people, we never want to actually reach our goals. And when you set your goal around money
or something materialistic.
Yes, exactly.
Whether it be a vehicle, a purse, whatever, and then you get it and you're like,
you get there and you're like, this isn't that cool.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's always more money to make and be made, and people like yourself will always find ways to make. You'll never be broke.
Yep.
And so then you transition into what you're talking about already. Who am I? What's my passion? What's my purpose?
Yep.
What drives me? What's the bigger force here? And money has a tail. So we start out with money being the goal, what we're pushing towards. And then when you transition into passion and purpose and you know what drives you, you find that the money actually not only follows, but it becomes bigger than what your money goals ever were. Yep. And you can't even help it but to make money. So
exactly.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. Well, that also goes back to, I want to keep adding on to this just because it's so important to me. So, like my roommate that I moved in with, I met him through TikTok. So like, we're like pretty close now. That's the guy I'm moving in with in Ohio. He has been like through this whole entire journey a lot more than I have, like a lot more success, where he made a ton of money and then spent it all and then made it a lot more and then spent it all again. So it's like, he's been through that process way more times than I have. And so hearing him talk about it, like I told him, like I made 10K this month, but this next month I only made like 3K because like it fluctuates. As a content creator, like you're not going to stay consistent. So, you know, that's like another thing that people don't know about is
riding
like
the waves, highs and lows.
Yeah, exactly. Like business in general, like it's very staggering. Like it's all over the place. It's a roller coaster. So you have to enjoy the ride. And he said like you just have to believe that the money will come back because it does every time. It's just like if you have the money in the, you know, the moment when, you know, you feel like you need it most, that's when you can start to feel prideful. And then when you don't have it, you can become very, very like condescending, and then you start like destroying yourself. And that kind of happened to me a little bit at the end of the year because I was like, you know what, money really isn't all that, you know, like when you realize that, you know, a bigger force, something that drives you more, that makes you feel more fulfilled than like a material item, like you said, you're going to be, you know, more suited off in the long term. And I feel like God does test you in a way somewhat, because there was a moment where like he was like, in my opinion, when I'm journaling, he's like talking to me. So like I'll be journaling, asking questions, and like randomly I'll just start writing something and I don't even know what I'm writing. And then I'll be like, oh, I just answered myself, but I didn't write that. So like my answers come from, you know, within, which I feel is like a higher source, which is God. And there was moments where like just my car broke down in the winter, had to stay positive. I got uppercut in the face when I was sparring. My whole left side of my face went numb. That happened for like 3 weeks and then it got better. So it's just like you have to go through those trials and tribulations of struggle and still stay positive, because it's all part of the journey, you know? Like you have to really, you know, trust the process, see where it takes you, because struggle without appreciation or struggle without acceptance is like trying to ride a bike but quitting after you fall. You know,
and it's so hard for some people to realize that like you need to remind people of that. Like the first time you try something, you're not always going to be like walking, riding a bike. You don't just give up.
Yeah.
It's just not that.
Well, and as parents, this is something we struggle with.
We do struggle with this.
Because it's hard as a parent to
start to see that.
Let them go.
Know that your kid is going to fail or fall or whatever, and let them do it instead of protecting them, and then they never fall and they never fail and they never grow. You know? But it's hard. Peaks and Valleys. Have you read that?
I've heard of it. I haven't read it yet. But
it's a quick read. I think Spencer Johnson.
Yeah.
So you've traveled a lot. You're going to Ohio soon.
Yep.
You did say, like in the form, that your roots are here, though. Why is Central New York? Do you feel like you're always come back?
Yeah, I mean, coming back in November after like being gone for 4 months was kind of refreshing, because it's like family's a big part of my life. Like everyone's here, friends, like just seeing people that like I'm actually rooted with, like that's home. You know, like seeing my parents and my you know siblings and all them, it really like fills a gap that not anything else really can. So it's like seeing them in the time that I have with them is very important to me. Even if, you know, my brother and sister think I'm annoying sometimes, which they do all the time, they'll understand it, you know, come to a time when they're older too, that, you know, you don't always have time with your siblings. But even for them, like hearing their perspective, like coming back, it's like there's a hole, you know, but it makes you, in my opinion, a little bit closer with them overall, because there's more respect, it's like, oh, like you're gone, you're doing things like I miss you, like stuff like that. But it's like there's more love and appreciation.
I wholeheartedly believe that everybody should get away.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like move away.
Yeah.
I like what your generation's doing with experiences, with, the gap year. This would have been blasphemous when we were getting out of high school to take a gap year and travel and find yourself. And now here we are 30 years after high school, and it's like, damn, I wish I had a gap year. Right?
We're
You never get
4
it.
years from now.
Our gap year is our retirement. But no, even at our age, we get away a lot, and that strengthens your appreciation of coming back, right?
Yeah.
This is always going to be your center, your home.
Yep.
But you don't appreciate it if you never leave.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Exactly.
you have to get a different perspective and see how other people are living and thinking. And
So family makes it home. But is there something else that you think is unique about our area?
That's where it started. I mean, it's always like it's the U. It's the 315. Like it's always gonna be home. Like that's where I was born. So it's like, I mean, yeah, it is home pretty much. And then every time I leave, like it's always there. It's like if anyone else grew up in a different state, that's still like where they grew up. It's their home. But as time, home can change depending on situations and stuff like that. Like I don't really see it changing for me personally, but I don't think I'm going to end up staying here in the future just because of circumstances and whatnot
In your career.
and career path.
Yeah.
So like that's all.
forget
it
careers.
all comes into it.
It's
but-
always about relationships. It's going to be a girl.
Yeah. We'll see what happens this year. I don't know.
It's a whole nother podcast, or we can talk off air.
Yeah,
I just
I
met
take
a
it day
girl
by day.
from here, so it just became easier.
It worked out. I mean,
But that's actually I joke, but I'm serious. We have a lot of friends who their families are in different states, and it's a thing. Like, where do we go for Christmas? Like, we did this with your family, did that. It's just, it really is nice that both of our families are here.
And
We
that's
never had a
something
fight
that
over
I
that.
don't have either. It's like everyone's just all here, so it's like that's also another reason. So no one's really split up too much. But I like how you brought that up. Like when you leave, you appreciate it more because it's like, I mean, you can be here like for a long time. I'm sure a lot of kids my age definitely agree with this. It's like you grew up here. It's like, oh, I hate Utica. The weather's terrible. Like I don't like it. And then you leave, and it's like, oh, I kind of miss this place a little bit.
or
So
the things that you hate the most, you begin missing.
You begin to appreciate
Like everybody knowing your business or everybody, and
The
then
little
you move
things.
away and you're like, nobody knows me here. Nobody
You're
says
a
hi to me.
nameless-
Nobody's
you're a
friendly.
nameless
Like,
face in a crowd.
Yeah.
I want to see people that know. Yeah, it is. It's crazy the way that happens.
Yeah.
For sure.
yeah.
We close all these with our rapid fire 5. This was like the
let's do it.
fastest. I just looked at my watch. I'm like,
Oh
damn.
my god.
Yeah,
that's why I just looked at my
It's a
watch.
long one.
Our producer over there didn't give me the high sign.
Wow.
Usually he's giving me the the cut it.
I'll lead off. Well, you start with the first one. You're more than
Yeah, we talked about it already. What's one book? I don't know if you can name one book or podcast that's changed your mindset, or something you'd recommend.
I'd say The Alchemist.
I am so glad that you said this because
I'm not.
that is one of my favorite books. And I said to Scott, how do you not like this book?
It's
So
so
about a
good.
year ago, he made the effort again to read it. He
So
got like 20 pages in it. He goes, I can't.
Why not? It's so good.
I read a
I
lot.
love it.
I read a lot.
He's always reading a different
lot.
book. Yeah.
And I listen to a lot of podcasts, and over and over and over again, people are always like, The Alchemist, The Alchemist, The Alchemist. I'm like, all right, Alchemist, I'm all in. I'm excited. It's almost like that movie that everyone hypes up to the point where it's just...
Yeah.
Oh, stop.
I feel that. I do feel that.
So I was like all jacked up about The Alchemist. I'm going back years. And I'm like 2 chapters in, and I'm like, I just can't get into it. And I put it down, and I didn't go back to it. And then Alchemist comes up. I'm like, I got it. Maybe I wasn't in the right mindset. I gotta try this again.
That's
New
fine, too.
lens. Yep.
Yep.
I got a chapter 2 into it. Maybe I should just start like in the middle of the book.
Well, I read it. So here
she
I'm
loved
reading it.
it. I
I'm
feel
like,
and she
I
never
love
reads
this
those
book.
types of books.
It's like a story.
I'm more of a
It's not
read
like
for
So I'm
enjoyment.
0 for 2 on The Alchemist.
Yeah, I
Maybe
love
third
it.
time's a charm.
I'm with you with that one.
You got to
I'm
finish
so
it.
glad
Next
that
time
you-
I see you.
Yeah, you like it?
It's a really good book.
The weirdo in the room.
Oh my God, I love it. All right, let's move on. All right. If you could create content with any brand in the world, what would it be?
I've always liked ASRV. They're like a clothing company.
Thank you for the explanation.
Yeah,
I knew you were.
Yeah, it's like it's either that. I was big on like Young LA for a while, but just in my opinion, it's more of like the bigger clothing brands because like you're getting free clothes too. So it's like, I mean, it's kind of cool. But yeah, probably ASRV. They're super expensive, but super nice.
Okay.
So.
All right, so that's the challenge, man.
Yeah.
You just went public. We did a lot of talk about manifestation and self-fulfilling prophecy. You just threw it out there. Now I'm going to challenge you to take action on that.
Let's do it.
Start hitting
Actually,
them up.
shout out this brand too. I'm working with them right now as well. So this is Squid Hoss. It's a pretty big company right now.
Okay.
So
All right. You've traveled a little bit. What's your favorite place?
Costa Rica.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's
Costa
on
Rica.
the bucket list?
Let's see. I want to go to Japan. I think Japan would be awesome. Honestly, I just want to travel as much as possible in my 20s until like I have a family. So like Japan's on there, Bali's on there. I don't know, just those are the big two right now.
Awesome.
So
If you could have dinner with any entrepreneur or creator, who would it be?
I would say probably, I mean, I would like to understand like Jeff Bezos a little bit, like how he got started everything, because he's got like one of the biggest companies in the world right now for the marketplace. So I just like to see what he would say. But that's a tough question.
Yeah.
That's a really tough question.
Best advice you've ever received?
Best advice I've ever received was from my dad to love what you do and do it every day.
Awesome. So they didn't give you. I mentioned earlier they might have given you pushback, but I'm guessing they didn't.
They did.
If that was
they
the
did.
advice.
They didn't understand it, but now they do.
You're like, Dad, take your own advice, man.
Yeah, no, I do say that sometimes.
You told me to do this.
This was your idea, Dad.
Exactly. That's funny.
All right, Ian McQueeney, and once again, we find you where?
Instagram at Ian McQueeney. We'll do YouTube at Ian McQueeney. And then I'm all over TikTok. I got multiple accounts, so you can find me on there too.
Big things coming at the end of March. You'll know about it. We can't talk about it now, but
We're teasing
but
you.
we got enough information where I think we can make it happen mid-February and scoop them.
No way.
Yeah.
He's my friend.
Thanks, Ian.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Love Living Local. As you know, we do not run ads. Our only mission is to shine a spotlight on amazing people doing amazing things here in our local community. If you'd like to support us with this mission, we have 3 ways you can help. You can share our content on social, subscribe or follow the show on your favorite podcast platform, and you can visit our lovelivinglocals315.com website to stay up to date with everything happening in Central New York.